I guess I was wrong. Hello, it's me, making the once monthly only way to play patch note special. Once monthly because although there's a patch every 2 weeks, the first one of the month is always pretty lame. Oh cool, a new formula for bounty runes, or creep gold, or a slight tweak to respawn times. Cool, thanks Ice Frog, I'm sure I can make an hour-long video off of that. Then obviously the second patch of the month has all the juicy stuff, a rework here. A new ability there. Every even-numbered patch since the 2-week schedule thus far has been massive, and the odd ones have just been minor tweaks of those massive ones. Until now. With 717, if this is the size of the patch at the start of June, I fear for my sanity when it comes to the size of the one 2 weeks from now at the end of June. Truth be told, I'm late making this, but bear with me. I was so late because I didn't actually read the patch notes for a day or two just because I didn't think anything of it. Boy was I wrong. So let's talk about some crazy changes, starting with Yules. Was Yules picked up a lot? I don't know. I guess Ice Frog thinks so. It took a hit from plus 40 movement speed to plus 30, which actually means slower than a Yasha on most heroes, is slower than drums when they're active, and is on par with Spirit Vessel, which you guys might have probably forgotten, is also built from a windlace and gives movement speed. These days, my favorite heroes who could get Yules can also get Spirit Vessel. Lena maybe not, but Dark Willow absolutely can. Death Prophet totally should. But I mean, those aren't my favorite heroes, right? By favorite heroes, I mean the one and only favorite hero of mine in Oracle. Oracle's sort of great, and getting so close to TI8, they'll probably stop giving crazy changes, and I can finally release the guide for him. I'll give you a little spoiler. It might just say, get Yules and Spirit Vessel. I mean, they stack, right? That's 60 movement speed right there with 2 awesome items on the guy. Moonshard's night vision was never really a selling point. I don't really think there's anyone who can make the argument that it ever was. Much in the same way that you don't buy Crimson Guard for the plus 2 attributes, even though it does give you plus 2 attributes. Doesn't really matter, truly, so don't worry about it. You buy it for the attack speed, and for the 7th item slot. Talisman of Evasion is now much cheaper, hooray, at the cost of losing 25% of its evasion. Boo! Dude, oh god, paying 50 gold for 5% evasion is something that anyone would do. That translates to 1000 gold for 100% evasion. That is a bargain! What Ice Frog's done here is a classic strat in economics, whereupon you lower the price of an item, while also lowering the content within that item. You lower it by more than you're lowering the cost though. Overall, it seems like a better deal because it's cheaper, but they're ripping you off, man! Same with milk. A 1 liter is like $3 and a 2 liter is like $4. I mean, yeah, it is cheaper for 1 liter, but they're getting away with charging you more while giving you less. Although, to be fair, I don't think I've bought milk in years. Basically, what I'm saying is Ice Frog's economics MMR is going to be in the mid-legends, room for improvement. Solar Crest is now weird because of this. Because of all the changes, Solar Crest is also 5% lighter on evasion, which makes sense. Kinda. The active, put on an ally, still gives them 20% evasion, which is bizarre. It's becoming more and more of the support item it was always wanting to be. As long as you aren't using it on you, and are using it on your allies, the active is actually worth more than the sum of its parts, which is nice. But then again, that doesn't really matter when you're using the item on an enemy. Still the same there, 40% accuracy, whatever that means, I never really got my head around that one. Okay, Abaddon's every single change is a buff, which compounds considering his level 10 talent, which got buffed, is an XP multiplier of 25% over the old 20%, which means that not only are the other talents buffed, you're also getting them faster. Level 15 changes either plus 6 armor to plus 8 armor, which is pretty good, or Mystic Coil from healing or damaging plus 60 to plus 75. The reason that that's good is because Abaddon's penalty for Mist Coil was a self-damage of up to 150. With this talent, for the same amount of damage to self, we are dealing much more health or damage to our target, from 250 all the way up to 325, which is pretty good! Alchemist's Chemical Rage is sort of inconsequential. Basically, you can dispel root, slows, a couple of item actives. You can't dispel stuns or silences though, because obviously being stunned or silenced means you can't cast spells. Considering range is usually used all of the time, the idea of saving it to escape roots is good in theory, but won't really come up much. You're probably going to have used it before the fight started. What you can do, which is dirty fun, is build Shadow Blade over Blink, specifically because you can always purge dust. But that's just an offhand idea, we'll see if it actually happens in pro games soon. Oh man, Bane is getting hit pretty hard with the nerf hammer these days. Base damage reduction, early brain sap levels, mana cost increase, the Enfeeble nerf from last month, it all points towards Ice Frog wanting to cripple Bane's early game. And I mean, fair enough, he's a great hero mid-game, and I can understand balancing him to make him weaker early, so you can actually earn the mid-game advantage later. Bristleback with Ags now gives a minus 4.2 armor reduction in a giant AoE with 1 cast of Viscous Nasal Goo. which is a disgusting name for it now that I'm actually saying it out loud to you. And even without eggs, it's a minus 4.2 armor reduction for just one person. The problem with Bristleback is how long it takes to get Quill or Goose stacks going. With this, he gets a head start. Good buff. Clinks is still getting buffed. Why? He was already fantastic. I went on a massive tirade about it last month. Honestly, Icefrog must really want to see him on the big stage at TI8. He's certainly doing everything in his power to make that happen. More attack speed, and the strafe dodge works on non-player units, which includes all creeps, and of course, the Fountain. Luckily, another hero further down was also buffed in a very specific way to beat Clinks. And it wasn't Clockwork, because Clockwork got wrecked. Which yet again, I don't have any reasons for why. He was already never picked, now he'll never get picked. If there's somehow a difference there. I mean, I guess the net result is the exact same. He's still not getting picked in the exact same amount. But I like Clockwork. I really want him to... it's fun to watch. Dark Willow is finally getting nerfs, except nope. She's not! She's not, because these are buffs! Again! Am I missing something? Is Dark Willow considered a bad hero who needs these? I was under the impression of the exact opposite, but... Hey man, okay, to be honest, she's fun to watch and would be cool to see at TI8, so I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing it out. Death Prophet, while still good and not directly losing any damage, does lose a little bit of the burst that can come from casting a ult, Exorcism, right on top of someone. It used to take 6.9 seconds to get all of the spirits out and attacking, and now it takes 8.1. While it's the exact same damage after the rollout, the first couple of ticks will be dealing a little less damage. It's so little, in fact, that I'm sort of regretting even bringing it up. Onwards, Earthshaker used to deal 0 damage with an Echo Slam on one person. Actually, okay, to be fair, I have to backtrack. He used to deal 100 damage, and then afterwards dealt 0 damage, and now deals 100 again, basically because the Echoes don't hit the person who caused them. So 0 damage. Echo Slam was actually deliberately used a lot while also not giving any damage, specifically to proc Aftershock, which adds a 1.5 second stun and 150 damage. If Fissure and Enchant Totem are off cooldown and that guy is TPing away, you have to use an Echo Slam on that. But now, no matter what, there's an extra 100 damage to everyone. Fine change, and it makes you feel less bad for having to use it on that one person just to get that one stun. It's just an extra 100 initial damage. It's not like every Echo gets 100 damage too. The difference between slamming a billion Spiderlings last patch and slamming the same amount this patch isn't a billion more, it's simply 100. You used to deal 160 billion damage, but now you deal 160 billion and 100 damage. Enchantress's early game was buffed. She nearly has a 4-second slow at level 1. That's fair. Now, I mean, Enchant is also a spell that can be used on creeps, but nobody does that in this day and age. You take Enchantress offlane. So, now you can do it even better. Enigma got some pretty awesome changes. Not only did his early game offlane or jungle antics get easier, there's a lowered skill floor. I don't know if you Divine 5 tryhards are really okay with that, but I am. Skill floors being lowered is fine. Eidolons now don't really have to be microed. They have enough HP regen to sort of cope on their own. Obviously, this doesn't really matter to people who do micro Eidolons out of trouble, and yes, microing still produces better results. For you guys who might not really be as confident with microing, don't worry, you don't have to, but you still probably should. I'll give away a really easy trick for you to try out. Instead of running an Eidolon back further than the rest, you do that, and then additionally, A-click one of those Eidolons in front of it. This immediately cancels the enemy creep's aggro and makes him switch to the new closest unit to him. Master that, and I'll see you at TI9. Gyrocopter setting himself up for a new only way to play guide where I build him as a nuker. Watch out for that dude, because, I mean, he can't be played as a physical damage carry anymore. With the level 15 talent change, both options are for his magical spells. No matter what, you're not gaining anything in the way of physical damage output. So here, maybe buy a Veil. Just think it over, don't knock it right off the bat. I mean, it's already better than a 100% confirmed loss, isn't it? But of course, you guys don't want me talking about all that. You guys want me to reaffirm your opinions on Huskar and all of his changes. You think they're good, but you don't really want to admit it because you're afraid you might be wrong, so you wait for someone like me to come out and officially say it's really good, so then you can also have that opinion. Like with me and movie reviews. I saw this artsy movie that I didn't really get, but I think it was good. Maybe? It was really confusing and had a weird ending, so I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes and saw a bunch of professional critics say it was good, so I went, yeah, it was good. So what do I think about the Huskar changes, right? They're pretty fucking awesome, right? I mean, dude, they're awesome. Officially awesome. You don't have to be unsure. I am putting my reputation on the line right here. As an ex-filthy Huskar player, I'd know. Old level 25 was a choice between 0 inner vitality cooldown and plus 125 attack range, and nobody got the 0 inner vitality thing. So the fact that they changed the bad talent to this amazing new take is pretty stellar, and they kept the old one and in fact buffed it. What we have now is Burning Spheres can deal pure damage and go through BKB. BKB no longer counts as Huskar. Pipe no longer counts as Huskar because it's pure now. So there is really no way to mitigate Huskar's insane damage output now other than evasion, which was already the case, unless you get Hellbit and cast it on him. But Huskar's lead with BKBs, and he has a plus 400 life break cast range. He can get a blink or a silver edge, even just a 4-staff into Hurricane Pie. He can come out of nowhere. The only time I'd imagine you'd pick up a now plus 125 attack range over this is if you were extremely behind and abstaining from using life breaks anymore, because jumping into melee range of that overfarmed LC is a recipe for a disaster. But in situations like this, would you even get to level 25? And that's an interesting talking point, eh? Does a Huskar get to level 25? And the answer, funnily enough, is yes, of course, every single game. I mean, instantly. I don't know where this idea came from that Huskar can't farm or can't find levels. Sure, he doesn't have wave clear, but keeping really low health, while a backup 450 health from Armlet sits you in your back pocket is absolutely a fine way to play. You attack so fast with low enough health. And I mean, you don't have to be like 10%. It can just be under 50%. You can manage that. It's scary at first, I know, but you can manage that. Also, if you do the stupid thing that I do with the whole 1 HP Roche taking strat with the Armlet toggling, you can hit level 25 in 20 minutes. And when you get there, you'll be rewarded with plus 240 damage pure on every hit. And, as I just said, every hit is a lot of hits on account of the fact that you attack like 100 times a second. Fantastic buff. I love seeing Huskar games on the big stage because, oh my god, toggles are the most satisfying thing to witness. And he'll have a friend too, but we'll get there. Io's movement speed got nerfed, which, yeah, kind of sucks, but for our carry Io, none of the other talents really worry me. As long as Tether gains the movement speed from our target, and as long as there's that talent that allows us to attack every time our tethered target attacks, we'll be fine. Plus, you can't deny, even if you're losing, it's extremely fun, right? Keeper of the Light's Chakra Magic has lost its mana cost, which is a good quality of life fix, because as a support hero, it was always weird to give yourself mana before your allies, specifically because you ran the risk of casting Chakra Magic on someone else so many times that you'd then run out of mana for casting the mana grinding spell. You can imagine how much this helps him now, right? And the antithesis to Keeper of the Light, Night Stalker, the poor guy, dude. I'm so sorry, Night Stalker players. But in happier news, when Clinks dominates every single game with their undispellable strafes, when Storms and Quaps and all those manners of mobile creatures come blinking in, one man must stand against them all. And that one man is Oracle. Oracle's Dispel, Fortune's End, can no longer be disjointed, which is great. That's great stuff, man. And I mean, it only costs 75 mana. It's actually slowly turning into Oracle's best spell. It's a cheap 6-second cooldown root, nuke, and dispel. And the level 15 talent gold increase from 90 to 120 doesn't hurt either. You know, depending on what Oracle's changes are next patch 718, it might just be time to release the Oracle Guide. If nothing major changes in 718, it'll be out in July. And an hour long. It'll be out before TI8. I'm looking forward to seeing Oracle dominate at TI8. And that's pretty much it, I think. I mean, the rest of the changes are just +2 damage here, a -3 end here, and I think that the Oracle tease is a good place to end this. Come hell or high water, that Oracle Guide is gonna come out. In before, Oracle Huskar, Wyvern, Bloodseeker, Medusa is the strat that wins the TI8 Grand Final, all using my extremely questionable builds.
See you then.